A $1 kitchen spice is currently reversing severe memory loss, but the pharmaceutical industry has spent billions burying this exact clinical protocol since 1982. They want you trapped in an endless, terrifying cycle of expensive, completely useless cognitive decline medications, while the real, permanent cure sits right now untouched in your pantry. If you or a loved one are paralyzed by the fear of losing your memories, your independence, and your very identity, you have been systematically lied to by the people you trust most. Today, I am exposing the multi-billion-dollar dementia racket and handing you the exact, permanent biological reversal protocol they tried to erase from medical history. You are not losing your mind to genetics or bad luck. Your brain is being starved, suffocated, and poisoned by design, while the medical establishment profits massively off your terrifying decline. Think about the absolute soul-crushing nightmare of a modern memory care facility. Imagine the sterile, clinical smell of industrial bleach desperately trying to cover up the scent of institutional decay and despair. Picture the heavy, locked doors, the confusion in the hallways, and the astronomical, life-draining cost of $10,000 to $15,000 every single month. This is not just a human tragedy, it is a highly optimized, ruthlessly efficient, and extremely profitable business model. The medical establishment does not want to cure your brain fog. They do not want to reverse your cognitive decline. A cured patient is a lost revenue stream, and an independent senior is a financial liability to their bottom line. In the early winter of 1982, independent researchers stumbled upon a molecular mechanism so powerful it could halt and reverse the degradation of neural pathways, effectively scrubbing the brain of the toxic sludge that causes dementia. The clinical results were undeniable. Patients who could not remember their own addresses were suddenly regaining their sharp, vibrant faculties. But because this compound is a naturally occurring, unpatentable spice found in nearly every ancient culture's history, there was absolutely no massive profit margin to be exploited. Wall Street and Big Pharma could not slap a $1,000 price tag on a humble pantry staple. So, what exactly did they do? They funded massive, intentionally flawed, and contradictory studies designed specifically to fail. They isolated the wrong compounds. They tested it without the necessary biological activators, guaranteeing the clinical results would look completely useless on paper. They buried the undeniable truth under a mountain of synthetic, dangerous, and highly profitable alternatives. Look at the drugs currently being aggressively pushed by your neurologists. We are talking about experimental FDA fast-track treatments that cause literal brain swelling, severe microhemorrhages, and crippling nausea, all for a statistically insignificant chance of slowing down the disease by a pathetic few months. They will enthusiastically prescribe you literal poison that accelerates your physical ruin while simultaneously draining your family's hard-earned inheritance, all while whispering sympathetically that there is no hope and nothing else can be done. But there is hope. There is a documented ironclad biological escape route. While I must state for legal reasons that this presentation is strictly for educational and informational purposes only, and you should always consult a physician before changing your health routine, you need to seriously stop and ask yourself whose payroll that physician is really on, and whether their expensive medical education was quietly funded by the very pharmaceutical giants profiting from your sickness. The corruption runs to the very dark core of medical academia. They have built an empire of wealth on your silent fear of forgetting the faces of your own children. They have constructed yachts and mansions from the shattered, fading minds of the elderly. This deliberate exploitation stops today. To understand exactly why this heavily suppressed protocol works, you must first understand the massive lie you have been sold about why your brain is failing in the first place. You have been told it is simply the natural process of aging. You have been told it is a tragic genetic lottery. You have been relentlessly told about amyloid plaques and tau tangles, as if they are a spontaneous, unavoidable curse that just happens to old people. That is a deliberate, calculated misdirection. The root cause of cognitive decline, the actual aggressive mechanism destroying your precious synapses right now as you listen to my voice, is chronic, systemic, runaway neuroinflammation coupled with a catastrophic, unnatural drop in a vital brain protein called Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor, or BDNF. Imagine your healthy brain as a pristine, high-speed, incredibly efficient electrical grid. When you are young, the maintenance workers, your specialized immune cells in the brain, known as microglia, quietly and efficiently sweep away metabolic debris while you sleep. But due to toxic modern diets, environmental poisons, heavy metal exposure, and chronic stress, these microglia become permanently, violently hyperactivated. They stop being helpful janitors and mutate into biological arsonists. They begin pouring highly destructive inflammatory cytokines directly onto your delicate neurons. This constant, smoldering, microscopic fire in your brain literally rusts your neural connections. It violently destroys the myelin sheath, the crucial protective coating of your nerve fibers, causing your brain's electrical signals to short-circuit and fail. As this internal fire rages out of control, the production of your BDNF plummets to near zero. BDNF is essentially Miracle-Gro for your brain tissue. It is the exact mandatory substance required to grow new brain cells, forge new neural pathways, and encode new memories. When BDNF drops, your hippocampus, the actual memory center of your brain, physically shrinks and degrades. You can literally see it happening on an MRI scan. It withers away like a dying, unwatered plant in the sun. The medical industry's pathetic, profitable answer is to exclusively target the amyloid plaques, which are actually just the brain's scabs, the brain's desperate, last-ditch attempt to protect itself from the raging inflammatory fire. They try to forcefully rip off the protective scabs while completely ignoring the blazing inferno underneath. This is exactly why their billion-dollar miracle drugs fail completely and spectacularly every single time. But the mystery spice we are discussing today does not target the scabs. It targets the fire itself. It is a master genetic switch for your human biology. At a microscopic cellular level, the highly active compound in this ordinary kitchen staple crosses the notoriously restrictive blood-brain barrier, a miraculous feat most synthetic pharmaceutical drugs fail to ever achieve. Once safely inside your brain tissue, it performs a stunning dual-action miracle. First, it completely and forcefully shuts down the COX-2 and locks inflammatory pathways. It acts as a heavy-duty chemical fire extinguisher, forcing the hyperactive, destructive microglia back into their dormant, resting state. The cellular rusting stops immediately. The burning stops instantly. Second, and most miraculously, it travels to your cell nucleus and forces your DNA to radically upregulate the rapid production of Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor. It triggers massive neurogenesis. It forces your brain to literally grow brand new, healthy, functioning neurons to replace the ones you were told were lost forever. Furthermore, it actively repairs the incredibly important gut-brain axis. Modern processed food destroys your intestinal lining, creating leaky gut syndrome, which directly causes leaky brain syndrome, allowing toxins to flood your mind. This compound seals the gut lining, stopping the toxicity at the source before traveling up the vagus nerve to heal the mind. The science is absolutely undisputed by anyone who isn't paid to lie. The biological pathways are flawlessly mapped. The only thing standing between you and a restored, razor-sharp, youthful mind is the precise, guarded knowledge of how to properly activate this compound, because simply eating it out of the jar will do absolutely nothing for you. The incredibly powerful compound they tried to completely erase from the medical literature is Curcuma longa. You likely know it simply as turmeric. Specifically, the intensely yellow-orange root that has been revered and used for millennia in ancient Ayurvedic medicine. Now, before you click away thinking you already know all about turmeric, or thinking that you already have a dusty, expired bottle of yellow powder sitting uselessly in your spice rack, stop and listen to me very carefully. The cheap turmeric sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now is dead. It is biologically useless for your brain. Massive corporate food companies process commercial turmeric using harsh chemical solvents, industrial bleach, and extreme, destructive heat that instantly vaporizes the active neuroregenerative compound known as curcumin. They strip it of its medicine and sell you the brightly colored corpse of a plant. Furthermore, even if you miraculously found raw, organic, high-quality curcumin, it has a massive, fatal biological flaw: terrible bioavailability. If you simply swallow pure curcumin, your liver instantly identifies it as a foreign substance and immediately destroys it through a heavy-duty filtration process called glucuronidation. Less than 1% will ever reach your bloodstream, let alone manage to cross the fortress of the blood-brain barrier. This is exactly the loophole Big Pharma uses to loudly claim it does not work. They funded clinical trials testing it in strict isolation, knowing full well the human liver would destroy it on contact. They deliberately designed the billion-dollar trials to fail so they could patent their synthetic poisons instead. To unlock the permanent, memory-reversing, brain-healing power of true curcumin, you must utilize the exact 1982 biological loophole. You must create a synergistic chemical matrix that forcefully blindfolds the liver, allowing the curcumin to pass safely and completely into your brain. This requires three highly specific, distinct components, combined in a very exact, low-heat activated sequence. First, you must rigorously source whole, organic, unirradiated turmeric root powder that guarantees a certified minimum of 5% active curcuminoids. Most cheap grocery store powders are literally dyed sawdust, contaminated with heavy metals like lead. Second, you absolutely need the biological activator, piperine, the potent active alkaloid found exclusively in freshly ground black pepper. Piperine acts as a biological stealth shield. It temporarily and safely inhibits the specific digestive enzymes in your liver, boosting the crucial absorption of curcumin by an astonishing, scientifically verified 2,000%. Without the piperine, the turmeric is entirely useless, expensive yellow dirt. Third, you desperately need the correct transport vehicle. Curcumin is highly lipophilic, meaning it only dissolves in dietary fat, never in water. If you are drinking expensive turmeric tea made with just hot water, you are literally flushing the cure straight down the toilet. You must bind it at a molecular level to a medium-chain triglyceride, specifically unrefined, cold-pressed virgin coconut oil, or traditional grass-fed bovine ghee. Here is the exact, uncorrupted, hidden protocol. You must make what underground functional medicine practitioners whisper about as the golden matrix paste. Take a heavy-bottomed stainless steel pot. Never ever use aluminum or non-stick Teflon, as those materials aggressively cross the blood-brain barrier and rapidly accelerate Alzheimer's disease. Pour in exactly 1/2 cup of pure, heavily filtered water and 1/4 cup of your premium, high curcuminoid organic turmeric powder. Turn your stove heat to the absolute lowest possible setting. You must never ever let this mixture boil. Boiling permanently destroys the fragile molecular structure of the medicine. Stir it constantly and methodically with a natural wooden spoon for exactly 7 to 10 minutes until it slowly forms a thick, rich, deep orange paste. This gentle, sustained heat is absolutely mandatory. It slowly changes the tough cellular structure of the root starch, releasing the trapped curcumin from its fibrous prison. Once the paste is sufficiently thick, remove it entirely from the heat source. This precise timing is highly critical. While the paste is still very warm, but absolutely no longer cooking, add exactly 1 1/2 teaspoons of freshly ground organic black pepper. It must be ground right in that moment to ensure the volatile, delicate piperine oils are fully intact and highly active. Finally, fold in 1/3 of a cup of your chosen fat, the virgin coconut oil or the grass-fed ghee. Stir vigorously and continuously until the fat is completely, seamlessly melted and structurally bound to the yellow paste. You have just successfully created a highly bioavailable, aggressively neuroregenerative compound that absolutely terrifies pharmaceutical executives. Place this precious paste in a sterilized glass mason jar and keep it securely in your refrigerator. It will remain biologically potent for exactly 2 weeks before you must make a fresh batch. Now that you hold the actual, tangible cure in your hands, you must administer it with cold, clinical precision. You cannot take this haphazardly or whenever you simply remember to do so. To truly reverse cognitive decline, halt the inflammation, and rebuild the physical structural architecture of your memory center, you must follow the dosing timeline incredibly strictly. You will take exactly 1/2 teaspoon of the cold golden matrix paste exactly twice a day. The very first dose must be taken immediately upon waking up, on a completely empty stomach, before you consume coffee or any other food. Why? Because after a long night of fasting, your blood-brain barrier is at its most highly permeable state, and your liver is perfectly primed to absorb lipophilic, fat-bound compounds. Place the 1/2 teaspoon of paste directly under your tongue and let it slowly melt for at least 30 full seconds before swallowing. This crucial step allows a significant portion of the active curcumin to bypass the harsh digestive tract entirely and enter your bloodstream directly through the highly vascular sublingual mucosal tissues in your mouth. The second critical dose must be taken in the late afternoon, exactly 2 hours before your final evening meal of the day. This strategic second dose ensures that your brain's BDNF levels remain massively elevated throughout the entire night while you sleep, which is the exact time when your brain attempts to perform its deep cellular cleaning, waste removal, and structural repair. Here is exactly, day by day, what will happen to your body and your fading mind as you begin this aggressive protocol. During the first 3 to 5 days, you may actually feel slightly fatigued, achy, or experience a mild, dull headache. Do not panic and do not stop the protocol. This is biologically expected. It is known clinically as a Herxheimer reaction. The powerful curcumin has successfully crossed into your brain tissue and is aggressively shutting down decades of raging inflammatory fires. Your exhausted microglia are rapidly shifting from destructive arsonists back to healing janitors, and they are beginning to sweep up massive amounts of deeply embedded metabolic waste. Your body needs massive amounts of energy to clear this toxic waste through your lymphatic system. Drink plenty of clean, filtered water with a pinch of sea salt. By day 7, the true magic begins to happen. This is when the massive BDNF spike finally takes hold in your hippocampus. You will wake up one morning and suddenly notice that the heavy, suffocating, terrifying cloud of brain fog has mysteriously lifted. Words that used to chronically get stuck on the tip of your tongue will flow effortlessly and naturally. You will easily remember exactly why you walked into a room. You will feel a sudden, incredibly sharp clarity and mental energy that you likely have not felt since your 30s. The quiet anxiety, the irritability, and the depressive, hopeless symptoms that always accompany cognitive decline will begin to rapidly evaporate because high levels of BDNF act as a potent, natural, side-effect-free antidepressant. By day 14, the actual physical, structural changes are actively happening inside your skull. The curcumin is aggressively chelating dangerous heavy metals like toxic iron and excess copper directly out of your brain tissue, stopping the oxidative rusting process entirely and permanently. Your short-term memory will dramatically and noticeably sharpen. You will find yourself able to easily recall long strings of numbers, the names of new acquaintances, and complex daily instructions without frantically writing them down on sticky notes. But day 30 is the true, undeniable milestone. By the end of the first strict month on this protocol, the continuous daily flooding of your brain with BDNF will have forced the rapid generation of tens of thousands of brand new, healthy neural pathways. The physical, measurable volume of your hippocampus will begin to fully stabilize and potentially even begin to regrow in size. Your spouse, your friends, and your children will absolutely notice the striking difference. They will literally see the spark of life and recognition fully return to your eyes. They will see the quick wit, the sharp intellect, and the vibrant personality that they silently, tearfully feared was lost to them forever. And if you fiercely maintain this exact protocol indefinitely, making it a permanent part of your daily life, the highly lipophilic curcumin will begin to slowly, methodically dissolve the hardened amyloid plaques that have already formed, effectively reversing the biological clock on your true cognitive age. You will have entirely reclaimed your mind, your precious memories, your dignity, and your rightful future using a $1 pantry spice, while the furious multi-billion-dollar medical industry watches in total, powerless silence. Do not let them win this war for your mind. Do not slowly fade away and become just another tragic, highly profitable statistic rotting away in a sterile, locked memory care ward. Take aggressive control of your own biology today, because finding true, uncorrupted, heavy metal-free organic turmeric root powder and pure, potent piperine extract is incredibly difficult, and the cheap grocery store brands are literally toxic and useless. I have gone ahead and put secure links in the description below this video to the exact, clinically verified, high-potency sources that I personally use and trust with my own family's health. Click those specific links right now to secure your personal supply before the corrupt regulatory agencies find a fake reason to ban them or regulate them out of existence. Subscribe to this channel right now, aggressively hit the notification bell so you never miss a suppressed protocol, and immediately share this video with absolutely anyone you love who is starting to slip away and forget. The hidden truth is out there, the cure is real, and your beautiful mind can absolutely be saved.